Hello one, hello all. This is Zelly from Kelly&Zelly Gaming. How are you guys today? I'm doing well, thank you for asking. And today, I'll be playing Fire Emblem Heroes for the mobile today. So as you can see, going into the app here, I am pretty well versed in playing this game. I probably played it about a little bit before a year after the mobile was developed and came to our phones. So I've been playing it for some time, and I've been kind of keeping up with it every once in a while. So I say once in a while because I'll do some things, but I won't do them all just because right now all I'm concerned with are just doing orbs. Don't really need feathers anymore because I have 700,000, and you can only get so many before you have so many units in your capacity that it doesn't really matter to upgrade them or to improve their rarity. Sometimes if you get ones that have better stats, you can do that. But for right now, all I'm going to be doing is going through my daily typical mobile get-up usually. So I'll just go through the normal ones of what I typically do and kind of clear them as I go. Typically I'll just be doing events that are considered for orbs. And some of those will have challenges, some of those will be arena, some of those will be story quests too. But nonetheless, I'll try to show you my method as far as going through these and doing them the quickest way and easiest way I've found so far, without having to have a whole ton of orbs. But for the most part right now, I'm just going through each special event and kind of just doing automatic battles for the most part, just because it's the easiest and quickest way to complete these and to start them out when you're lower on. But as you get further on here, you can obviously choose to, say where your characters go, what attacks they do, and things like that. I have the enemy attack radius on, so we can see how far they go. Now, if there's a character that can dance, that might change their priorities as far as how far they can move and do actions, but that's for another map. Two of these right now, characters I do have the ability to dance, which causes another adjacent character that has already taken action to go again, if they're not also another dancing character. So, without further ado, this is Fire Emblem Heroes. So for the most part, all these maps consist of 4 characters you can choose from, right? So in some other games like this too, there's red, blue, green, and colorless units to choose from. And right now, the colors dictate your strength. So red will beat green, green will beat blue, and blue will beat red. And colorless is neutral. Very similar to Dragon Ball Legends and other games that have strength and weaknesses attributes in their mobile gameplay. But right now I'm choosing other abilities for these characters to learn after I'm done learning, or after I'm done completing the special challenges, because from each one of these you can learn a new ability based upon its performance and what abilities would really prove to be beneficial. Right now for Micaiah, I chose Dance just because Dance itself is a really useful ability. If you have another stronger character, you can have them go twice instead of once in one turn. So it can really help out if you have a favorable unit to keep using them over and over and over again, which is great. That's kind of how I complete a lot of the missions I have right now on my characters. One of my favorite characters is Klein. Klein the Archer has a Brave Bow which can double attack and can take out units fairly quickly without them being able to retaliate. Now, some units will have different abilities and different traits that negate some of Klein's abilities and attributes, but that's for another video. But I will use them for clearing special events and things that have a limited amount of units. I'll typically use Klein along with 3 dancers. Yeah, so again too, just for the most part, I'll do automatic battle for most of them. If you get to a point in the game where you're able to consistently use, where you have a consistently set up amount of strong characters to use, it really doesn't pay in the long haul for some of these maps to really actually plan on your moves. If you've done it so often and so quick, you can really go back and just automatically battle for the most part. So again, too, on screen here, I'm going through and choosing an ability I think would be beneficial to have for this unit going forward, for when I'm going to use her. She's a green ranged ninja that throws shurikens. So she's a ranged unit, and she's green, so she'll definitely beat out blue units, but she'll be weak against red. With that being said, there's different character abilities for each person too, but that's a general idea, is that, again, green will beat blue, blue will beat red, red will beat green, and colorless is neutral, so there's no disadvantage or advantages typically along with them. Besides with green sometimes, which I know is a little odd. But for the most part, for the special event, you go through and you'll battle and you'll level up these characters that'll add bonuses to their attributes as you level them up. And in doing so, make you more powerful and able to get better items throughout the modes here. So one thing that I like about Fire Emblem Heroes that it does daily consistently is that it gives you a daily reward when you come in and log in. So daily reward mainly means you get either orbs, you get feathers, or you get something else. I think a dueling crest, possibly too, along with it. Just for free, just for saying hi and looking into the mobile game. And other times there'll be quests that you'll go on that you can do for rewards and things like that, which are really nice to have too. Sometimes they'll be really worthwhile where you can go for crystals, and those can help level up your units. You can also go for orbs too. I say orbs going back to that fact that really right now, since I have a lot of characters and a lot of high-ranking characters on my side from playing the game so often, that I really don't have to go for much of anything else. But if you're just starting out and you need to build your character line, I would probably strive to go for a lot of everything, just because they'll help you gain experience and level up your characters extremely fast. You'll be able to use abilities from characters you've gained too. So there's a lot to gain from when you start out from getting everything. But when you become like you have most things available to you, there's not really a part and then you have to go for literally everything. I do typically about a 15 to 30 minute check-in daily, depending on what's available to me when I sign in. So again, too, this special event is where you have an offense side and a defense side. And so right now I'm having my offense attack their defense. And what's nice in this mode is that whether you win or lose, it doesn't really matter, because you get a item whether you participate or not, which I'm going to get in just a minute here, even though it says I lost. Aether Stones, yay! So again, let's play once a day to earn a reward. So I'm done with that, so I don't need it anymore. So I can go from there, and I can go to the other maps to see if there's an exclamation mark over it. It usually means it's new. So you want to look into it and see if you can actually, participate and actually see if you can get any rewards from it. With that being said, I'll stop going off with the orb topic. Orbs in this game allow you to go to summon characters to your side. Red, blue, green, and colorless warriors. So when you have 20, you can summon a whole ring. When you summon a whole ring is 5 at a time. So you can summon 5 at a time on one banner. Banner meaning that there's limited time that these are open, and that there's certain characters that are higher to get than others when you go into these banners. So when you spend 20, you're going to be getting 5 champions or warriors. And if you do anything less than that, you'll be most likely wasting your orbs along the way, unless you really want to, as they say, snipe a certain color in Fire Emblem Heroes. You could really, because whatever color generates for the orbs to show you out of the 5 is random. Sometimes it could be 3 blues and 2 reds. It could be a slew of things. It could be a red, 2 greens, 1 green, and 1 colorless, for example, too. With that being said, some of the banners will have, they'll be having red, blue, and green, but they won't have a colorless. So you really wouldn't want to get the colorless because you'll have a less chance of actually getting it. With that being said, you're going to go and, for the most part, they typically have a warrior or champion for each banner that is present. But from there on, though, you're typically going to be using 20 orbs to go for them. So with that being said, you typically, for the first warrior to summon is 5 orbs. Second warrior is 4 orbs, so that's 9. Third warrior is 4 orbs again, which is 13. And the fourth warrior to summon is 17. And last but not least, the fifth character, which is the reason why I say it's most beneficial to go to 20, is 3, so equals 20. So you really want to maximize your orbs that you have in your person to actually go through and to get the most out of your summoning when you have the chance to. So yeah, I'm sure I'll show you that in a little bit here, but just going to give a brief explanation. Klein, again, to the archer I just used, would pretty much cleared all the bound hero battle orbs I wanted to get today. The only thing remaining now, I believe, is that you have to do them all with cavalry. So I looked at my lineup to kind of choose a lineup that had all cavalry units. There's no exceptions. You have to complete with all cavalry. No exception, which I do. So I gave it a shot to see if I can get the last orb out of it. Otherwise, if I don't, it's not a huge deal breaker. Not a huge deal. So again, you'll see me try to use a range of characters to try to complete this, but as you just saw, if you lose one character, it's game over. And you do not win, you do not pass go, you have to start all over again. The problem with this map is that there are 3 units that can pretty much get to any color space that are all different colors. So it makes it really hard for a matchup for being defensive or offensive. Generally speaking, if you're offensive in those kind of maps, it's really hard because you need to be able to back up or to have a skill that can take you back. So you're not in range of an attack, so you don't get destroyed. With that being said, as you see, there's a red cavalry, there's a blue mage cavalry, and then there's a green ninja, and then there's a green mage and an archer. Those color units can pretty much get to any range, can pretty much attack whatever unit I put out there right at the go-ahead. So as you see, I might try to see what the odds are as far as me dealing damage and taking damage in combat. If there's much of a change, or if there's a lot of change. But with that being said, there's going to be a lot of trial and error for the most part when I try these kind of things, just because there's no perfect way to do these, which is good, because I mean it gives you opportunity and options to try different things, which is great because you should be able to try different things. I'm sure if I would have chosen and taken the time to go through with other cavalry units, it probably would have been much easier to take care of, but most cavalry units are suited for offensive, typically speaking. Some are defensive, but if they're defensive, they're usually defensive in one category. And so on these units, you can see there's a defense and a resistance on them too. With that being said, your resistance is the damage you take reduced for magic, and then your defense is actually the amount of damage you'll take from physical fights. So another example I'll show when we get into another fight, just show the stats of what I mean. But that's the general scope, and here's the daily login like I was saying before. The orbs, the feathers. There's one you can do for forging bonds, but I've already collected all of them, so I'm just going to do my daily login and just accept those. And then usually ones with red exclamation marks are new objectives to look at and possibly do. So like the Bound Hero Battle one is one, and the Rival Domains is another too, but I've already taken care of all those. So there's not much really for me to do for the rest of today, besides I did Hall of Forms, and I'll be doing Forging Bonds. This is the last one where they provide you orbs, and again I'll just do Automatic Battle. So for the most part, that's what I'll be doing for a majority of my runs, but I can go through and explain for the most part if there's one more in depth that has to be used more than the other. So hopefully that won't be too big of a deal, but that's the idea going behind right now for Fire Emblem for the mobile games at least, is that you want to be able to log in, you want to be able to understand and execute whatever needs to be done, and then once you have everything in play, you can pretty much just set things on auto and the game will play itself, which in times is a relief because sometimes it takes so darn long, and sometimes people don't have a whole lot of time, so they want to have more time for themselves and other things in their lives. So with that being said, it's a lot easier just to go through and just put on auto. So you don't have to do anything, but it gets the job done for you when you're playing this game in the first place. It gives you that satisfaction in a way, right? yeah, so right now I'm leveling up my characters, again, to put in a mono, just because they're strong enough to take care of them, where I don't have to really do anything. The only thing that you really have to do um, is if you're dealing with certain maps, then you have to do them manually because of the units are too strong, or if the situation is really, if it's just really disadvantageous for you to fight against. So there's moments where you'll want to use yourself to, play the maps, but for the most time, if you get far enough and your units are high enough level, you can really just let it play on auto, and the game will play itself, which again, too, is, like I said before, kind of relaxing. It's not as stressful, and it's just nice to have that opportunity. So in this mode, whoever attacks first and kills a unit first, or defeats a unit, I should say, has the ability to learn another ability. So right now it was Micaiah. So right now I'm going through the different random options that gives you, going through these different options. So right now she deals with magic and resistance, right? And so I'm looking for ones that are more magic based or resilience based, or anything that's really that would help out or would be, different, I guess. And I'm looking at Heavy Blade right now just because of its attack and special charge for whatever I get as a special, which is that purple cross-looking thing. But she's also a dancer, so I chose to get that ability for her just because having another person to dance is like I said, if you have a strong unit and 2 dancers, that strong unit can attack 3 times during that one turn, which is great. Since Elincia got the kill on the archer, she's going to be able to get the new ability this time around when the map ends. If I win. If you don't win, you don't get to keep the ability, if I recall. I think you have to first eliminate the first target you see with whatever champion, and then afterwards you get to choose whatever ability they learn, which is great. And so even if they do die, I think, from the enemy, you still get to have them learn an ability when it becomes end of battle. So I just won, got another reward for playing those maps, some more crystals, some more feathers, and then I'm going to be looking into other abilities for her to use. You can upgrade your weapon to Pumpkin Box, which I looked at. Ardent Sacrifice, which restores HP to an ally unit, but unit loses HP. And they'll tell you too there's limitations in red for things that can be used, as far as if that's a cleric. That's what the wand says cannot use. And yeah, but otherwise, for the most part, you should be able to use most of their abilities that they give you just fine. So I chose Joint Speed because typically a dancer will be next to an ally, so when this is being said, they'll be getting extra bonuses during combat. So that's why I chose it for them. And right now, too, there's not really much else for me to do today besides to do these maps, so I'm going to go through and just complete a few more to help level up my characters a bit more. When this event is over for the Hall of Forms, you're able to eventually afterwards have the ability to recruit them based upon how you level them up. So if you level them up really well and they learn a lot of abilities, that's how you're going to get them if you're able to spend other currency points to actually get them in your army. I say army, but it's really like... no, I guess it's your army, actually. Because there's about like 1,000 to about 1,100 characters you can have on your side before you have to start eliminating some to either get feathers or to put for manuals to learn abilities for other characters. That's the one thing I really liked about Fire Emblem Heroes, is that there's a lot of things you can do with the characters you summon through the orbs. You can either upgrade other characters with other abilities. You can use the characters you actually summon from the orb and use them for your own. You can, if you want to, if there's no other use for them, you can just turn them into feathers to actually upgrade lower ranking characters that are 4 stars into 5 stars, or 3 stars into 4 stars, and etc. Yeah, so when you're higher level, like myself here, I suppose it doesn't really pay much to do things manually. It's more or less just ease of mind if I go through, and there's a key feature that they put in not too long ago that allows you to auto battle, which is a blessing because sometimes it would just take forever Like, you see the plays already happening out, and sometimes you're way higher level than you have to be for some of these objectives in the first place. So it really pays out if you have an auto battle feature. When you have strong enough characters to do auto battle, then it's worthwhile. But until then, I would probably recommend going to the orb, summoning, getting a whole bolster of characters for your army to use in the mobile fights, and kind of going from there. Really from there, it's just logging in most days to get the daily rewards, which most mobile day games do for everybody, and just making sure you're consistent with it. You don't have to be super consistent with it. I mean, the daily login takes maybe like a minute or two, and that's it. Like, you don't have to do anything else. But if there's other side missions that you want to do for this, it could take you from like 10 to 20 minutes to do, or even up to a half hour, depending on how the special maps and special events are laid out. Again, too, this really will depend on your characters you have, whether they're 5-star, where they're gold, where they have a gold parameter on them, and they're level 40, which is the max for this game. So, for the time being, I'm going to go through, and I believe I was going to do just a few more options here for quests, just to kind of go over and make sure that I had covered all my bases. But as you can see, there's ribbons, there's crystals, there's dueling crest. There's things that I really don't need, because I have a massive abundance of right now, just for playing it for continuously for a while. But as you see here, though, there's definitely... I could definitely do with taking out some of these other items for the orbs, which is great. So I'm sure I'll go ahead and do that. The FEH pass is a monthly pass that you can use to get specific items that are only allowed on the pass. With that being said, you have to pay, I forget the amount you have to pay, but I'm sure it's between like $5 to $10 or between 3 or 4. And you pay that monthly, and you'll get special access to more orbs, more items, more special characters, more things like that. But you can play this game just fine without having to spend a single dime. You get orbs through events that you go through and you play through. So that's what really is nice and part of that. I really do like that. Yeah, so that's pretty much the extent of it for right now in doing that. Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been Zelly from Kelly&Zelly Gaming. I hope you learned a little bit from this game, just a brief basic intro to it right now. So kind of to go over what I said before as far as the characters and the outline of the game itself is that, yeah, it's mainly a trio of advantage versus disadvantage, where it's red, green, and blue, and colorless. And so you typically have green beats blue, blue beats red, and red beats green. So if you can keep that in mind throughout the gameplay, that'll really help you out a lot of the maps and understanding the game as a whole. I'll probably do a whole other introduction into the series, but this is my general play for it right now. Okay, until then, everyone, I shall see you all later on. Bye-bye.